Alrighty, welcome to part one of the Cobra 135. N5SIM here, gonna pull it apart and see what we got. Because I haven't been into one of these in, oh gosh, I don't know how many years. Perfect radio, love it. And I want to tell you something before I do this, just so I don't forget. If you ever have a chance to buy one of these radios, garage sale, someplace cheap, you will never find a better receiver. Even my amateur radio equipment comes close. Some equal it, some don't, but I have never seen a base station be this sensitive in receive and this good. I mean, it's just fantastic how they built these back in the day. Of course, they were built by people who want to, make radio and make it the best it can be. So let's get this thing up and let's see what we got to do to get it apart. That guy's definitely holding something in. And, well, it's not supposed to come apart like that. That's actually supposed, see, you can see the little marks in there. That was supposed to be glued in. And I think these two screws, and there's two more down here at the bottom that we got to pull out. And then I think it comes out that way, if I remember. So let's go ahead and get this out of here, because that's definitely holding something. And let me get a tray to put all this in. All right. And I noticed something right off the bat. If you see, there's a big hole here, and then there's another one down here. Looks like somebody had some channel kits or something like that. Out in the parts bay, I may have one of these. If I do, I don't think anyone will ever call me and say, hey, I need one of these, I'll give you a bunch of money for it. So if we have one, he's going to get one that looks good. All right, so let's start on these two screws up here. See what actually comes out of it. And like I said, I was so surprised at this, that, oops, I gotta open that up, that it was just crazy, I'm telling you. The receive was just something that I loved. And you don't have to put DDS in. It's not something that you have to do. There, you see this is getting loose? There you go. Now we're good. All right, so now I believe that all we have to do is tip it a little bit, slide it out, and see, let's get that up by the camera. You see that was actually glued down to the bevel inside there. Yep, and there's your metal pieces that hold it in on both sides. So set this one away, and let's take a look at the chassis and see what we've got. And if you've never been into these old radios, man, I'll tell you, they are really good. Oh, look at that. So we've got the crystal bank, the mixer crystals here, channel selector. This whole board here, let's see if we can get a close-up of that a little bit better. Yeah, that whole board there in the center, that's your mixer board, your crystal and mixer board. So everything frequency-wise is done off of this board. So it looks like we're going to be able to take out this board here and have a nice metal tray to set the DDS VFO PC board and probably the generator board. We can get this out, and we'll take a look at the schematic later when I show you, exactly what. But this cable here runs down to the main circuit board. There's another cable that comes over here to the receiver side. So, it looks like we're going to be able to probably just use this cable. Your crystal oscillators are here, going through a little 3-pole filter here, and then into your transmitter and receiver circuits. So I'm going to bet that we can pull this cable off, pull this board out, And I don't think this board has anything much more to do. It looks like your lights are tied in here. They're all on one spot. And I'm betting that's going to be a ground spot. So voltage comes from somewhere else to these switches. And when you switch AM, upper side, lower side, it's sending that voltage not only to the light in here, because these are light bulbs, not LEDs, but they're little lights. We might replace those, depends. I'll ask the customer. And then that voltage is also going off over here. It looks like to, yeah, over to here. Your channel selector runs here. I'm going to say we're going to be able to take out all of this and have it be ready to go. So that's going to be cool. And then we got to pull the clock out. What do we got to do to pull the clock out? Screw here, same at the bottom. Yep, see those little screws there and over there. So I think if we pull the clock, pull this board, I think we're going to get ready for the the unveiling. Looks like it's going to be a pretty. Is it easy? I'm not sure, easy or not, but we'll give it a try. Also, looks like somebody replaced, let me get up in here so you can see, look at these capacitors here. Usually there's a big gray one in here. Looks like somebody recapped that. So I know the tune-up was good because I tested it prior, and the tune-up, everything came out. I always test first because you don't want to put DDS in and then find out, hey, it doesn't transmit. Well, now you don't know if it's the DDS board that you put in or if it was originally that way. So always check transmit, receive, upper lower sideband, all the functions before stripping the radio down. Once you get that, you're going to be okay. So let me go ahead and pull the clock out. Channel selector, this board, let me just get all that out. And then we'll come back and take a look at what it looks like inside. Let me cut the video here and I'll be back. Okay, back again. So, got the clock module out. So that's basically going to be tossed because there's no reason to even try to fix that. Here's the big deal. Now, I did notice a problem with the original knob trying to get it back into where I want it. And I'll show that in a minute. But here's what came out. Here's your, synthesizer board, if you want to call it that. The crystal board. This is your mixer board. It takes two of the crystals and mixes it, and the frequency of that comes out, goes through this little filter, and gets split off through that cable you saw, which was right up in here. And here's your test points. When you're tuning this crystal pack, you would put a tester either, well, they may have individual ones, but at least if the final frequency coming out is your 35, I think it's 005 on this one, then you're fine. But anyway, so channel selector comes out, mixer board comes out, and basically gets tossed, okay? And the two knobs for the clock, of course, we're not going to be using those any longer. So put those over here. And channel selector comes out with just two screws and it slides off after you get this knob off. But if you notice, this knob has 1, 2 screws there. It's a D shaft. And the D shaft is going to be great because that's what we have our encoders for. But here's the issue. Look how far down that D shaft is in there. If we put an encoder on there, I'm betting that it's going to be hitting here, and there's not going to be any way to put that into the chassis just to put it in there. If you notice, this channel selector is a long shaft. So there's the chassis front, and you've got all that space, all that length, and then you put your D shaft knob on there and it'll sit go. But that's a lot of travel distance. Okay, so that's going to be an issue to figure out what's going on. And then I found one more issue. Get that radio back up here. Up in here, there's a bezel of metal that goes around. And I think that's just to blacken out the space where the clock sat in so you didn't see light around it. If I can get closer into that, you might see that little bezel right there. But I think that we can grind out. I think we can take our trusty Dremel and grind that out, and then be able to put the 1.2 display or the 2.4 display in there. The rest of it looks pretty simple. I'm still betting that we can tie on here our clock 0 for our SI 3531 output for the generator, plug in there. I think we're going to have everything there. These were at ground on that circuit board. They went, let's see, where did they go? They were at ground right here. Yeah, right there. So they were all at ground right there, all these little white ones. And that worked out pretty good. So I think, oh, let me show you something. So all of this gets replaced by this that does 1,000 times more than all of this can do. But we've got a nice little tray, and I'm thinking that DDS will sit down in that tray just fine. I'm going to put this guy over here, I think, like that, so that this can reach it, go right into there, and DDS will go there. And I think it's going to come out looking pretty nice. So the only challenge is going to be that bezel in here. And I think, again, here, I'm just going to print a disc, a 3D disc, and mount that encoder here. And I'm hoping that this knob will be fitting. If not, I'm going to have to maybe find a way to heat that element and slide it, slide it to the bottom here a little further. But, you know, and I don't like shaft extenders, because if you do shaft extenders, it gets real loose in there. You know, you can feel slop, and I don't like that. If we have to, maybe a shaft extender and something to keep it centered up here. You know, I really don't know, but hey, we're going to find that out. All right, so that's part one. And oh, you know what? Let's see. Also, let's see here. What are we going to do with the clarifier? I'm betting that the clarifier goes up to this board too. So let's take a look and see. Let's open that up and see. I bet you it goes there. Oh, wrong bit size. Always nice to have the right bit size. You don't want to silver the screws on anybody's black equipment, because then it's just not nice to do. I have in the past, not saying that I haven't. And then you got to go out and you got to find, oh, loose. Got to go out and find some more screws the same size and shape and put them on there for the person. And let's see here. Remember those holes I was telling you about? There's one of them there. And there's another one right there. See that? Oof, somebody went and really chopped that up. Okay, so we have our speaker connected there. Well, you know what? And these look pretty frayed from people using them, so I'm just going to cut them, because we're going to have to strip them and resolder them anyway if we want some longevity out of those speaker controls. But let's see, the clarifier is here. Oh, excuse me, it's called the voice lock. Yeah, Cobra. All right, let's turn this upside down here and see what we got. Okay, we've got yellow, green, blue. Looks like somebody's been on that. They may have modified this to slide. I didn't check that. But it doesn't matter, because we unhook these wires. We don't even use them. But so yellow, green, and blue. Looks like they come and turn. And they probably go up in here. Yep, there's the yellow, green, and This blue one goes down in that pack too, so does this one. So yeah, yep, just like any of these synthesizer boards, one of them is going to be ground and the others are just going to go in here to change the frequency of the oscillator for that, so you get a little slide. Alrighty, well, the next thing to do, I did pull out the capacitors because I like one big capacitor. You know, putting the other two to make up the capacitance. It's okay, you can do it, but I'd rather just put one in there. But other than that, I think I'm ready to go. So what we're going to do in part 2 is, oh, I already see a modification right there. And maybe that, but we'll get the schematic and look. Some pretty bad soldering. Look at that. You see that soldering there? Can I get closer? Oh yeah, that's not good soldering. That looks like the iron wasn't hot enough, so it didn't flow like it should have. Oh, and also we have to do is, since we took the clock out, we have the switching of this for the clock. You know, the clock ran on AC, and I just want to make sure that this this switching is done. This is your, I believe these two big wires are your DC side. So if you plug DC in back here on the plug, this is your AC side, and the top and bottom are the DC side. Yep, top and bottom. Yeah, those are going to be the DC side. So the AC side of this switch, which is this one and that brown one, and then this white one that comes back. This was your auto off switch up front, I believe, right? Yeah, auto on and off, yeah, for the timer and all that. So anyway, all we got to do is clip some of that out. Just make it be this white one probably will go directly back to here. Or you know what? It might even be that this orange, we may be able to cut that out. But we'll find out. We'll take a look at the schematic. But anyway, we'll get these clarifier wires taken off and clean that pot, and then we'll get to putting DDS in. And the first thing we'll do is, before we hook up S meter and scan and all that crazy stuff, we'll put it in and make sure that it works. This little pad is going to be good. This was a twist out so that you could get to components, and like him down in there, you needed to tune him or something, or fix a component here, you had to go do that. But it's just held in there by a screw here and a screw here, and it's got two pivot points. And we can get that out just by doing that. So this is going to be a great little little DDS spot there. I think it's going to turn out pretty good. And some people ask me, well, how do you know where to set the IF in the DDS? Well, just look at your crystal lattice filter. If you can I zoom in on that? Let's see, where is he? He's right there. So I'm not sure if you can see that. It says 7.8. Yep, there you go. So jumping ahead a little bit here, because we'll do that electronic stuff in the next episode. But 7.8. Where do we hear that from? That IF 7.8 is in all of the Cobra 148s and a lot of the Galaxies and the 2000 and all that. So with the sideband, they kept the 7.8 IF, so we know that we just set our DDS to 7.8, and what's really cool is it comes already defaulted to 7.8. So what should happen is we should hook this up to clock 0, turn the system on, and this should start working instantly. And if all you wanted to have was channels, that's all you'd have to do, other than, of course, the display. And like I said, back there, there's that little ridge, and I think this is too narrow for the 1.3, and we're going to have to figure out, you know, do we cut it, file it, how do we deal with this plastic? But as we go on, we'll do that. All right. If you like and want to see more of these videos and keep us going, like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll try to answer any questions that you've got online on the comments. If you want to email me, Dan and I get literally hundreds of emails a day. I take about an hour, sometimes two, depending on what I have to do to get through them all. And, you know, some fall between the cracks. You know, some don't get to us. Some end up in the spam folder for whatever reason. But if you have any questions about putting in DDS, let us know. And always let us know if you want to do a video like this. We're going to call these full length or, you know, full videos for your radio. If you want your radio done and you want a full instructional video like this, let us know. So hit that like and the subscribe, tell your friends, and let's get on to part 2. Thank you.